Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Squared Circle News Network. This is episode 19, and today is August 20th, 2021. As always, I'm your host, Darren Patrick. And more importantly, today is not only August 20th, but today is the beginning of the era of CM Punk in All Elite Wrestling. It's a huge day. Big things to come from this day forward, not only with CM Punk debuting, but of course Bryan Danielson's impending debut. There's talk of Buddy Murphy and others coming in also. There's so much happening right now that this is without a doubt the best time in the world to be a wrestling fan. Can't necessarily say the best time in history, because the Monday Night Wars were pretty damn entertaining. I got to tell you, the Attitude Era, never forget those times. I'll never forget the early days of the WWF. All hold just special places in my memory and my heart. But this is a new era. It starts tonight, folks. Again, as always, I'm your host, Darren Patrick. This is the Squared Circle News Network. I took a very brief hiatus. I was not here with the video the last couple weekends for a couple reasons. I had some very important personal things going on, and I also wanted to take some time to dig a little deeper into the YouTube analytics and just try and learn a little bit more about how this all works and how I can maybe grow the channel a little bit, get some more subscribers, get some more clicks, get some more views. Again, I'm not looking to be a world beater. I'm not looking to try and take anybody over or crush anybody's channels. I just want to have my own little spot, my own little footprint in the internet wrestling community, and I think I'm doing everything that I can to give out a good, solid, honest product. I don't clickbait. I don't give false information. I try and research everything, do all my due diligence to make sure that all the information that I put out here is accurate and true, to give you all the information to help make your wrestling experience better. But I'm back. I'm going to keep going here, back to business. And I had to, of course, start today. I know normally I post videos up on Saturday, but this being the day of CM Punk, the premiere at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois on AEW Rampage, the second edition of Rampage. This is a huge day. This is going to be a historical day. There'll be trivia questions that'll be written about this day, and it's something that wrestling fans can latch on to. You know, the lapsed fans, the fans that were huge into the WWF, WWE product for so many years that kind of got tired of the stale entertainment product, the product that's geared more towards kids now, and are looking for that real gritty, intense wrestling product that we used to get. And we're getting that again. AEW is doing just a phenomenal job. They're firing on all cylinders right now. Like, every Dynamite is good. Of course, not everyone is great. Not everyone is a slam dunk, a home run, a touchdown. Some episodes are a little bit more laid back than others, but I cannot say that there's been a single bad episode of Dynamite. Tony Khan puts so much pride and so much work and heart into what he puts out on TV, on TNT, and he should be proud of what he's doing. It's just a great product, and I love it. I love it more every time I see it, and the way it's growing, things are changing, things are happening, and man, I'll tell you what, it's like I said at the beginning of this video, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. There's not a better time. And tonight, of course, 10 p.m., CM Punk will make his debut. Now, up until Dynamite, there were no matches announced for this edition of Rampage, so I was not sure how AEW was going to handle this debut. And to be honest, I'm still not sure. They've added a couple matches. They've added the tag team eliminator match. They've added Jon Moxley versus Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia from my hometown of Buffalo, New York. It's good to see some wrestlers coming out of Buffalo. You've got Daniel Garcia, of course. Butcher and Blade are both from Buffalo. The bunny is transplanted to Buffalo. She's originally Canadian, but you know what? Canada and Buffalo are so close. Canada is just like Buffalo Light or vice versa. Um, and of course, Beth Phoenix, WWE talent. She's from Buffalo. There's Buffalo's got a rich historical history in professional wrestling, and there's been a lot of wrestlers from the far distant past. Uh, to drop a name, Elio DiPaolo, who was a wrestler way back, even before my time, and I'm pretty old, so I never got to see Elio DiPaolo wrestle live, but he's passed away, but he does have a restaurant that he opened in Buffalo that his son, Dennis DiPaolo, still runs. So Buffalo was a hotbed for pro wrestling. I remember when I was a kid going into a teenager, the Buffalo Sabres used to play in the Memorial Auditorium. That was their building where the hockey product took place, and every month the WWF would run a house show, and I gotta say, from the time I became a teenager, I was at every single house show. I did not miss one. You'd go to a house show, and usually halfway through the card, they would announce when the next house show was, and it was usually just a month away. And as soon as tickets went on sale, it wasn't like it is now. There was no internet at the time. I am pre-internet, so I couldn't jump online and buy tickets to anything. I had to actually physically go to. There was one of two places to buy tickets. Ticketmaster had a terminal set up at our local supermarket here, Tops Markets, and then also at J.C. Penney. So I would go to one of those two places to get my tickets, and just did not miss a house show, and so many great memories from those days. But I don't want to start slipping back on a reminiscent path here. I want to stick with what's going on right now because this is very important. There's been so many hints leading up to tonight, and of course, nobody wants to come right out and say, "Yeah, CM Punk is gonna be on Rampage tonight," because that takes away the mystique, it takes away the mystery, it takes away the questions. But pretty much said and done, he's gonna be there. Tony Khan did an interview on Busted Open Radio where he said that wrestling fans pretty much know what to expect on this edition of Rampage. So he's hiding it in plain sight. I mean, every week on AEW programming, there's hints. You got Kenny Omega wearing the Cookie Monster T-shirt the one week, and then the Chick Magnet T-shirts the next week. Both T-shirts, Cookie Monster CM, Chick Magnet CM. You got CM Punk going on TV, and he's wearing that little pin shaped like a Michael Jordan jersey with the dates, or with the numbers rather, 05 and then 11 and then 21. 2005, of course, was when he first signed his first WWE contract. 2011 was when he re-signed. That was the year that he was kind of having enough of the WWE. I'm not sure. I can't remember when they switched. I think it was WWE at the time. As a matter of fact, it was. And he was pretty much tired of the direction that the business was going in the WWE at the time, and he was threatening to leave. He was threatening to take the belt with him. And at 0 hour, Vince McMahon convinced him to sign another contract. That was 2005. And now 2011, of course, the year that he signs with AEW. And, I don't, and not that I don't want to hear it, because no matter where you go, you're going to hear this stuff. You're going to hear how AEW is the WWE landfill, how they're getting their cast-offs, their rejects. But let me tell you something. Look at the list of names that AEW is highlighting right now from WWE. You've got Miro. You've got Malachi Black. You've got Andrade El Idolo. Now you got CM Punk coming in, Bryan Danielson, Bray Wyatt, of course. I know there's a non-compete clause and a certain amount of time before Tony Khan can actually write and have signed an official contract, and that's fine. But where else is Bray Wyatt going to go? There's always that period of time where something could happen, where he could re-sign with WWE. And the way I look at it is, you've already been burned, you've already been cast out, you've already been pretty much not in direct terms, but pretty much uncertain terms, that you've been told that we have no value with you, we don't want you, we're letting you go. So anybody that gets released by the WWE and then re-signs, I have absolutely zero pity for. I just don't ever want to see that person come out on any sort of Twitter or social media. Somebody that re-signs with WWE comes out on social media and says, "Oh, I'm so unhappy." No, no. Keep it to yourself. You've made your second deal with the devil, and now you have to reap what you've sown. There is no pity party for those that decide to go back to the WWE, because WWE has a consistent and clear track record of not appreciating talent. And it's there. There's been recent comments by Bobby Lashley and saying things basically like, if you're unhappy in the WWE, it's your own fault. And that's crazy, because Vince McMahon has his handful of favorites, his treasured little center of his world. Roman Reigns, of course. Roman Reigns came out on an interview and basically said the same thing. He said that he worked to get where he is, and he did everything that he needs to do. What did you do, Roman? Let me ask anybody that says that what they did to be the center of Vince's attention and to hold a spot in the WWE, because this is the way I see it. If you want to be a robot, if you want to be a puppet, if you want to go on camera on WWE TV and read a scripted promo word for word, wrestle exactly the way you're told, do what you're told, somebody says jump, you say how high. If that's what you consider being a professional wrestler, and you're happy doing that, by all means. I have no hard feelings for anybody that does that. But don't say that. Don't ever come out and say, do what you're supposed to do, and you'll be fine in the WWE, because a large portion of these wrestlers, and I gotta say, most wrestlers get into this business not to make the money. Because you know what? Most wrestlers have to grind and scrape and just fight for every penny that they get early in their careers, because there is no instant success in professional wrestling. You have to prove yourself. You have to go out on the independent circuit. You have to gain a fan base, and you have to show why you should be noticed by people. And you work, and you take bumps, and you hurt, and you heal, and you work for no money. You work to make a name for yourself, in the hopes that someday you'll get a contract with a major promotion, and you'll be able to take all these years of learning and practicing and perfecting your craft, and to get in front of a camera and entertain people like you've seen your heroes do throughout your life. So these wrestlers that work this hard, they want to be creatively free. They want to be able to show what they're capable of. They want to be able to do what The Rock did, what Steve Austin did, what John Cena did. They want to be able to pick up a microphone, go in front of a camera, and electrify a crowd. They want to either have a crowd just uncontrollably scream over the top for them, or do their job as a heel and have them try and boo them out of the building. And one way or another, if you're getting that kind of reaction from the crowd, you're doing your job. And if you can do that on your own merit, with your own words, with your own talent, that's something to be proud of. That's something to relish, and to just really drink it in. Anybody that wrestles in any organization can walk into WWE and be a good little puppy and do exactly word for word as they're told, and be fine. But realistically, who as a professional wrestler really likes that kind of life? To not be able to even change your promo up a little bit because you're going to get screamed at by Vince McMahon or by Bruce Pritchard or John Laurinaitis or whoever is in Gorilla at the time. I'm sorry, but I lost my fascination with the WWE a long time ago because it's not the organization that it was, and I've gone over this over and over again ad nauseum, and I just don't want to keep doing it over and over because it's not going to change. Vince McMahon is who he is. He's got his deals, he's got his corporate sponsors, and he's pretty much running on autopilot right now. And he's not going to change what he does or how he does it, and it doesn't matter what anyone says. So, you know what? It is what it is. But AEW is changing the world. It's changing the world of professional wrestling. It's bringing eyes back to this product. It's bringing lapsed fans back. And all that I can hope for is that it grows like it did back in the Attitude Era when there was something to really draw people in. And you know what? A lot of the Attitude Era was garbage, but at least you could sit down and you could watch Raw is War. And you could have 3-4 awful segments, but at some point, you knew that Steve Austin or Shawn Michaels or The Rock was coming out, and they were going to just absolutely light it up, and it was going to, that was what you were going to remember. You weren't going to remember the bad segments that you sat through. You were going to remember that electrifying moment that everybody was going to be talking about the next day. And that's what made the WWE great at the time, because they gave these wrestlers the freedom. And that's why superstars were made, and that's also the same reason why Vince McMahon doesn't want that formula anymore, because you got The Rock becoming a movie star, you got John Cena becoming a movie star, Batista. Vince McMahon doesn't want that anymore. He's got his gold mines. He wants to keep them locked up under his supervision, under his direction, on his leash, and he wants to make all the money. And if these guys can find their way into Hollywood and make millions and millions of dollars making movies and not need to be killing themselves and crushing their bodies in the ring anymore, of course they're going to do it. I mean, who wouldn't? But AEW, I mean, Tony Khan is just doing it right, and CM Punk's coming in tonight, and all signs are pointing to Darby Allin being his first opponent. Darby Allin's been dropping hints left and right about wanting to see the best in the world in AEW, and we all know what that means. Everybody knows what that means. And I think that's a great place to start, but there's an endless list of talent that CM Punk could work great programs with. And in my ideal world, the way I want to see CM Punk come out tonight is, if they're going to have their matches, have their matches. They got 3 matches scheduled right now. The Jade Cargill match probably isn't going to last very long. You're probably looking at a 5 to 6 minute match tops. The Moxley Daniel Garcia match probably won't last very long. I would say if it goes 10 minutes, that'd be a lot. You might get a little bit more time out of the tag team match, the Eliminator Tournament match, but when the matches are done, I just want to see CM Punk come to the ring, microphone in hand, and do what he does best. Because I don't think anybody can say that there's been more controversial or entertaining promos from another wrestler during the Punk era. This guy, he saw where the pipe bomb promo. Everybody remembers the pipe bomb promo. If you were in a closet and have not seen the pipe bomb promo, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. I highly suggest looking it up. And CM Punk just had his nose on the grindstone. He had he was in tune with everything that was going on in the WWE, and he just pulled every single negative from the way Vince McMahon was running the business to Triple H burying people and being the boss's son-in-law, and he just cut a scathing promo that absolutely ripped everybody apart. And you know what? I don't want to say I want to see the same thing in AEW because there's nobody that should really get ripped apart in AEW right now. I mean, I would love to see CM Punk have a promo battle with MJF, but beyond that, there's no real negatives in AEW that need to be brought to the forefront in a promo. There's nothing you can really say about the way Tony Khan does his business or the EVPs. Maybe he could go after Cody if he chose to, but right now Cody's in this semi-retirement Malachi Black feud that I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but you're probably not going to see Cody. So what he's going to talk about, I don't know, but if I was to guess, since this deal has been made, and I'm sure it's been made a while ago, I'm sure that all the right people involved, Tony Khan, CM Punk, the Bucks, Kenny Omega, all the minds that put the great programs together in AEW have been just collectively working to come up with the right way for CM Punk to debut, and he is going to say all the right things and do all the right things, and this is a night that we're not going to forget. And going forward, CM Punk tonight, Bryan Danielson, I'm guessing most likely at the Arthur Ashe Stadium show. Bray Wyatt's not going to be here until Halloween time. That's when his 90-day non-compete clause is done. But beyond that, who knows? I mean, Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy has been labeled as the next Kenny Omega, and that's extremely high praise. You know what? You can not like somebody for different reasons, and I go online and I go on some AEW fan pages on Facebook, and there's a lot of trolls on these pages, and they come on there and it's like they go on YouTube, they watch Jim Cornette's video, and then they go on Facebook and parrot everything that he says in posts on the AEW fan pages to attack Kenny Omega, because it's the popular thing to do, because people without lives like to drag others down that are successful and are good at what they do. That's human nature. That's human nature in a lot of people. It's ugly, it's nasty, it's not necessary, it's uncalled for, but this is how some people choose to live their lives. They're sad, they're unhappy with that they haven't accomplished anything, so they pick a form of entertainment. They pick either movies or music or wrestling or whatever it is, and they find somebody that the fans gravitate towards, that are clearly talented, and then they use every fiber of their being to try and tear this person down and make themselves sound intelligent, when really you're just sounding like an idiot. Anybody with two brain cells can watch a Kenny Omega match and see that not only is he a great wrestler, but he can take anybody else. Anybody else can get in the ring with Kenny Omega. You don't have to be a great wrestler. You can be just fundamentally sound, and you will have a great match with Kenny Omega, because that's how good he is. He not only lights it up, but he brings everybody else up around him and makes the matches better. So, to say that Kenny Omega is a horrible wrestler, is a terrible actor, is this, whatever Jim Cornette says. I used to love to listen to Jim Cornette, because to me, Jim Cornette is a part of wrestling history, and I would like to listen to his stories about the past. As a matter of fact, just very recently, and I wish I would have done an episode on this because I think it needed to be addressed, but it was one of during my time that I needed to take off, and Bobby Eaton passed away from the original Midnight Express. And Jim Cornette, of course, had a very close relationship with Bobby Eaton. He was the manager of the tag team. So I tuned into that because I knew it was going to be emotional. I knew there was going to be a lot of stories about Bobby and things that I did not know. And I wanted to experience that, and that's what Jim Cornette does probably better than just about anybody. Is he's been in the thick of this business through through everything. I mean, obviously not through the very early days because he's not that old, but through the 70s, through the late 70s, the 80s, through the true heyday, the boom of professional wrestling. He was there as a manager, as so many different things. And that's why I try so hard to be able to sit down and listen to Jim Cornette, but his criticisms and his bashing of AEW is so irrational, is so wrong, is so over the top. Specifically Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks for, I'm not even going to go into the reasons, but he's got these idiotic, stupid reasons why he has grudges against these guys. And he's seriously trying to make it his mission to bring AEW down. Well, Jim, you've been wrong about everything. You were one of the people that said AEW wouldn't make it out of their first year. Guess what? Within their first year, TNT was so happy with their product that they extended their contract early. AEW ratings are growing. They've been, they dropped slightly below a million the last 2 weeks, but they had like I think a month run where they were finally breaking that million viewer mark. And with Punk coming in and Bryan Danielson coming in, it's going to be back to consistently over a million because people are going to want to see what's going on. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're not going to kill AEW. You can try. You and your little friend Brian Last can sit there and just collectively, continuously bash this product, but you're not going to hurt it. You can't. You're too sad. You're too pathetic, and you're hurting, making yourself look completely foolish. And that's unfortunate because you've got so much to offer. But I'm going to leave that alone because it's just it's an ugly situation. And again, I'm all about respect and just letting, as long as you're not hurting anybody. AEW is bringing fans back to wrestling. If you don't like their style of wrestling, that's fine. You don't have to. If you want to stay in the 80s and the 70s and not have anybody ever jump off a top rope or do a flip, that's fine. I can understand it and I can appreciate that. That's what you were in the thick of. That's what you grew up with, and that's what you like. And you don't like the progressive style of wrestling. But it's not about that. It's about what they're doing for the industry. It's about what they're doing for professional wrestling in general. And they're bringing fans back to professional wrestling. They're bringing back the lapsed fans that grew up watching WWF, that grew up watching WCW, that lived through the Monday Night Wars, and then watch the WWE fall off the edge of a cliff with just absolutely horrible programming, and they stopped watching. I mean, the ratings drop in WWE over, say, a 20-year period is astounding. You talk about, I can't remember what episode of Raw it was. I want to say either Steve Austin and The Undertaker or The Rock and The Undertaker had a championship match. And that episode drew like almost 11 million viewers. And how Monday Night Raw struggles to get over 2. That's insane. And it's a product. It's a result of the product changing, and it's a result of Vince McMahon caring only about corporate sponsorships, about network deals, about how much money he can make, and whatever he has to do to water his product down and to tone it down and to keep it kid friendly and whatever else he's doing to make that almighty dollar. He doesn't care about the product anymore. He doesn't care about the fans. You need to understand this. He cares about money only. The man has more money than any reasonable person could spend in multiple lifetimes, and it's not enough. You can't ask me for my money and not give me something worthwhile, I'm not gonna be a part of it. And you know what? And look, I've said this over and over again. If you like the WWE, if you find them entertaining, I have no problem with that. I will not say you're an idiot. I will not say you're stupid. I will not say you don't know what good wrestling is. If you like it, if you enjoy it, if you watch it and you get pleasure out of it, then by all means keep watching. I don't want to destroy the WWE. I don't want the WWE to go out of business. I, as a wrestling fan, would love WWE to turn the clock back and be what they were 20, 25, 30 years ago. I would love to have that excitement again and be able to watch Dynamite on Wednesday night and Raw on Monday night and just be able to enjoy the shit out of both of these shows. But they're not giving me that opportunity right now. And I feel it's not fair. But I got to tell you what, I'm enjoying Dynamite like crazy. So much looking forward to tonight. Um, there's more things going on right now in professional wrestling. There's more, people are still talking about the NXT releases and the death of NXT, and that was another ththing. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to record a dedicated episode of this Square Circle News Network too, but I couldn't get in front of the microphone for a couple weeks. I just had too much going on, and it was impossible for me to accomplish that. But I am back, and we're gonna get back to my regular format starting next week. I'm gonna try and do another show tomorrow. I know I don't normally do shows 2 days in a row, but this is far too important. This tonight's episode of Rampage is far too important. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be covered. The word needs to be spread. People need to know what's going on. Fans need to come back to professional wrestling, and they need to tune into AEW, and they need to watch Dynamite and Rampage and just enjoy the hell out of what's going on, because pro wrestling is back. And I am there. I'm watching it. I'm drinking it in. I'm enjoying every second of it. And I hope you guys are too. As long as you're here, I usually mention at the beginning of the video, and I did not because I just had too many things that I wanted to talk about. But as long as you're here, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so that every time I upload new content, you will be made aware of it. Help this channel grow. Let's see what we can do with this channel. I'm going to make that a personal challenge. If you watch this video, if you made it this far, because I know a lot of people don't watch YouTube videos to the end, but if you've made it this far, I'm going to make it a personal challenge for you to tell somebody else that's a wrestling fan about this channel and ask them to check it out. Share it on YouTube, share it wherever you need to, and let's see what we can do with this. Let's see if we can work together as a team and make this thing grow. I'm going to keep bringing you the truth. I'm going to keep bringing you honest reporting. I'm going to keep bringing you my opinion. And look, I may not be right about everything, but I've been a wrestling fan for far over 40 years, and I know a few things. And like I said, I've said many times over, I'm not going to say that I'm exclusively right and everybody else is wrong, but I kind of know how this business works, and I kind of know what's right and what's wrong. And again, this is my opinion versus everybody else's, but give it a shot. Just listen, and if you want to comment, that's all I ever ask is be respectful. We can debate, we can talk about things. Happy to, absolutely happy to, but just keep it civil, keep it respectful, and I will do the same. Thank you everybody so much for being here again. I appreciate everybody, and I look forward to seeing you again. And as always, be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Thank you.